It's really cool to just have people in their 20s in general on this platform to, talk about real life shit that people who are 20 years old, have to deal with.
That's dope that you got. It's crazy. I used to try my hardest to bring people into me, so I completely understand that. This is a really embarrassing story. Pierce, I'm about to put this on wax for the first time ever. Pierce, you know this story. When we were in the 8th grade, you know what I'm about to say?
I think I do, yeah.
When we were in 8th grade, can I kid you not? Do not judge me, okay? I'm 23. I'm a wholesome man. I pray every day, okay? I told everybody I was half Asian for like 6 months.
It's believable though. It really is. If you look, I believed him when he told. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I could see it. And then I met his parents.
I literally just went to your Twitter profile to look at your picture. It is.
And it's crazy because when I was younger, I used to have like I had short hair. I had really wide ears. I just had short hair and like my skin complexion. So it's believable. Like I'm just now growing my hair out in like my 20s. So everyone used to believe that, but I used to do that stuff for attention. That I don't think that's. I think I'm a lot worse off than some other people. The shit I used to do for attention because that was really bad.
Yeah, I mean,
and like
we used to do kids. We all used to do stupid shit for attention. You know what I'm saying? I remember I used to tell people that my aunt was Beyonce. I really tried to convince people that I was very adamant about it. Like Beyonce was my aunt. And I had like 2 people that believed me for real, so that was a success. But it happened.
I had everyone believe me, and the crazy part is, like, no one followed up about that. I'm low key kind of waiting on that day of retribution, where it's like, yo, you remember at Beach Park Middle School in 8th grade, you said you're half Asian. Both your parents are black. No one's followed up with that except for Pierce, and it's crazy because when he saw my parents, he said something, and he still decided to be my friend because I'd have been like, nigga, you're weird. I'm going.
Oh, really?
But
I mean, I thought that for sure. Don't be wrong, but I was like, yeah.
Just past it.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you know what? Everyone's probably wait. I didn't know. Everyone's probably gonna wait until you blow up. You know what I'm saying? And then be like, you remember that one time when you lied?
They're not even gonna be like, oh, remember that time. They're literally gonna be like, this nigga over here was lying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he said he was part Asian.
Cancel.
And they gonna put one of those fancy ass terms like transracial liar activist shit. I'm like, bro, all right, bro, like whatever. Some completely other shit. But that is a lot of questions that I have, unless you have anything else, my friend.
No, I think yeah, I feel like I think I rambled about my life a pretty good amount.
Oh, I got one. How do you feel that the government is handling the response? Like, how do you feel like the world is handling COVID?
Yikes.
Loaded question.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me I think that how do I put this? I don't know. I don't really know how to speak for the world, just because I think that each country, each continent, each city, even each county, even is, doing their own kind of like particular practices. And there definitely are areas globally that are doing really great initiatives to flatten the curve the best that they can, especially, doctors, healthcare workers, essential workers, all of that and above, just to keep society functioning. So I definitely commend all of those people. But the U.S. government is a very interesting topic because the U.S. government knew about this virus for a very long time. Not a very long time, but they've known about it. It's usually typical protocol that when there is a virus happening, even if it's not in the U.S., right, you want to take precautions to make sure that if something were to happen to your country, you are prepared. And the U.S. just was not. And I mean, for example, when Obama was in office, there literally was an entire branch of the government dedicated to pandemics. They had a whole office, everything. They had an entire office dedicated to pandemic prevention. And all of the funding that was going to that basically stopped. It was all thrown away. It was all done for because Mr. Cheeto needed a wall for a reason that he doesn't even care about anymore. Clearly, he's just a white person who is a dick. And like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I don't know, like, and plus they, in 2003, the same office that shut down because of no funding actually informed. I want to know what this branch. I don't know what this branch is called. So if you do, feel free to let me know. But he actually, what happened? Oh no! So they informed the U.S. government got informed by this program like in 2003, I believe. That may be incorrect. It might be 2009. I'm not sure. But either in 2003 or 2009, one of those years, they actually got informed that they don't have enough preventative tools, so like masks, ventilators, etc., to survive a pandemic, and that there needs to be more funding and focus on that for those preventative tools in case who knows, a pandemic may happen, and it didn't. Right. and I don't know. I just think that they weren't prepared, and now they're doing things like slowly but surely telling us that we can't go outside month by month because they don't want to tell us the actual estimate that they think that we're going to be inside. I think that the media has done a terrible job at being a source of information for people in a time of fear and anxiety, especially CNN. CNN has done a terrible job at keeping any type of sanity within society because they just rush headlines, or the information that's actually in the article is way less dire than the headlines, or it's always like where I feel like when I used to have CNN notifications on, and I used to think the world, like when the quarantine first started happening, I was freaking the fuck out, like freaking the fuck out. And obviously it's something to freak the fuck out about, but the way in which I was freaking out was literally because CNN was causing so much fear in me that it was just scary, So I don't know. I just feel like I think America is doing terrible and amazing at the same time. Our government and our people who are in positions of power and information are doing a terrible fucking job. And the people who are, working to help flatten the curve, people who are actually on the front lines, people who are, staying inside and literally just trying to survive and save their money and earn money during this time, I think that we are doing a really good job trying to just live the best way that we can. But yeah, fuck the government,
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, but nah, all that's real. It's crazy. I don't know if you guys saw this or not. And this is my thing, and I do think, and it's crazy as a member of the media, technically I'm saying this, but they said that Kim Jong-un had died. Like, this motherfucker was dead, right? But here's the crazy part, because life and death happens. If that was the case, that should have been front page headline news. Everywhere you go, we should have been saying things like, "Oh, Kim Jong-un is dead. Kim Jong-un." We didn't see that.
I think he's in a vegetative state.
Yeah, they confirmed anything, which is why it's like even though it's not confirmed, you would think that it would still be on headlines because that's Kim Jong-un, and people are saying this thing is possibly dead.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it around, so I mean, I know it. But I get what you guys are saying. That should be like front page news. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of things that can be front page news. You know what I'm saying? Like we got to pick something, especially with this whole pandemic going on. Like I don't know. I feel you. I think that I personally, I'm sorry for cutting you off. I think the news is bullshit. All of it. Fox, CNN, MSNBC. I don't give a fuck. I think it's all bullshit. I think a lot of it, and you mentioned it earlier that like when you had the CNN notifications on, like you were thought like the world was ending when this whole thing was going on. I mean, I feel like that's like the goal. Like they're here to like instill fear. You know what I'm saying? Because if you can make people fear things and you can make people, then it's a lot easier to control people. I'm not saying that the media is here to control people. That's another conversation. But I definitely do think that news outlets make a point to cover the negative over the positive, because the negative gets the clicks, the negative gets people interested, the negative, makes people want to read into it more just to see how bad it really is. You know what I'm saying? So I think they're going to do as much as possible to make it seem as horrible as possible. Granted, this situation we're in right now is horrible. We know this obviously just from what other countries have been saying and the death tolls and all that stuff. So, but I don't know. I mean, they're doing such a horrible job of calming people down. You know what I'm saying? Like, and just trying to tell people like, all right, as long as you like just do what you need to do, like you'll be straight. But they're making it seem like you go outside for 1 second and you're gonna explode. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's ridiculous.
I don't know how your neighborhoods are handling it, but I know that like I live in Hyde Park, and it's very interesting because Hyde Park, we be chilling here. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, shit be going down because, it's still the south side of Chicago. But, like, generally, we just be chilling in Hyde Park. And when the virus first started happening, I remember when I finally was like, okay, let me do my, my quarantine grocery shopping because this is starting to get a little serious. It was like all hell had broke loose. Like, I'm in Trader Joe's. And I mean, like, there is like 50 people in the produce section just spazzing the fuck out. And I'm like, it's so sad that, like, it's crazy that, it's not only just our own fears that are making us act in this way, but it's literally our media not being responsible and not actually portraying the news in a way that is informative, but yet keeps the general public, at ease. And there's only a certain extent of, how much you can keep somebody at ease when it comes to a global pandemic, of course. But it definitely could have been handled a lot better. But now, like when I go to like Trader Joe's or I go to the store, now that people have more systems that, companies have put in place for themselves, in Hyde Park, at least, things have been really, really calm. Like, I went to Trader Joe's this morning and it was chill. They let you, it's like only 10 people can go in at a time. But I mean, I don't mind that system. And it was like, it was calm. Music was playing, I was like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. All day.
That's how it was when I went to Jewel last week. You walk in, you get your stuff. Well, they had gloves and they had different for wipes, you can wipe down your carts on out there. When I went to Walmart, it's all really calm. Like, there's less people in there because less people are coming outside. And you only go when it's necessary. But like, you walk in Walmart and there's a guy with a tab. I don't know what it's like for Walmart near you guys, but there's like a tablet where he's marking down people as they come and go, and different things like that. There's barricades set up. Like, this really crazy time we live in. But back to what we said about the news, and that's my point where I was going with this conversation. Is that the news has been very shitty right now. The news has always been kind of fucked up, but in this time they've really dropped the ball, because if you even include China, where, they lied about their total amount of people that actually had the virus. I'm sure they're lying about deaths. And then you look at the whole thing with Kim Jong-un, he's not even dead. He released an official statement. Well, let me not even say that, because I don't trust anything right now, because then an official statement was released by the country of North Korea saying that he's perfectly fine and that he congratulated the leader of some country in Africa about their Freedom Day. But now
you can't trust anything North Korea says. Like, literally, North Korea is they propagandize so much. I mean, we do too. Don't get me wrong. Like, we have hella propaganda here, but like their shit, like they're brainwashed over there. Like, their whole thing is to make it seem like they are the best country in the world. Kim Jong-un is the best leader in the world. Like, he's the healthiest he's ever been. Like, probably not. No one's seen him. No one has seen him since he went into surgery. Yeah. Like, he's been nowhere to be found. And I keep hearing that his sister is starting to like, getting ready to like take over. I don't know. It's really a lot of information is just like kind of scattered. I really have no idea what's going on over there, But I don't know, man. I wouldn't trust a word that they say. Like, even if they say, oh, he's perfectly fine. If they're saying that, my thing is, if they're saying that, it's probably the opposite of what they're saying. For me, at least, that's how I view North Korea right now, because it's a bunch of bullshit over there. It really is.
I agree. Yeah. And I heard his sister is like worse. Like, yeah, his sister, I mean, that's you with more detail, like that's basic, you know what I'm saying? Like that's him with more detail and actually planned out work. You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
yikes. I don't know. I'm just really interested to see how this all will pan out, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think the world as we know is gonna be the same. Like I know for me, I'm gonna be second guessing like the typical thing you do is like you dap people up, you know what I'm saying? Like especially in like the black community, if you a male, you what up boy, handshake, hug, dap, whatever. But like all that's gonna change for me. I'm not especially right after all this is over. Like right after all this is let up, it's gonna change for me. Because in our reality, not saying that, we're dirty people, but there are definitely things hygiene wise, I feel like we could all do better. I don't think we're all going to be doing the type of shit we're doing now. Like, I'm not going to be, once all this is over, I'm not washing my hands 15 times a day like I am right now. That shit dead. Because then my hands are going to dry.
One thing that I'll say, the silver, I don't know, because, well, I would say it's a silver lining for at least some people, at least. I think that the tech industry is going to become very innovative in ways that we have not seen before. Like I definitely think this is definitely changing the game as to how businesses really make things happen. Like I don't know if you guys saw, but like when the when the stay at home order first was released, I said released like it's a mixtape, but first
no features.
I'm like when that shit first dropped.
No features. We about to get deluxe shit.
Oh God! When it was first put in place, I mean, what was I just gonna say? I just blanked out what I was gonna say. What was I just talking about?
Damn, my bad.
I really don't. Oh no! Wait, do I remember? Damn. What was I gonna say?
I'm so sorry. That's what I give it trying to be funny. I'm so sorry. You said the silver lining.
Oh yes. So I don't know if you guys saw when everything first started happening. Fader, they have the Fader Fort conference every year, where all the artists and speakers and people come out and do this, that, and the third. But they had to make it like an entire digital platform. And I don't know how the actual Fader Fort went. I don't know if it was a success or not. I didn't really read up on it yet. But like the promo rollouts for it was so cool. Like I personally don't really care for it, but it made me care, even though I had no idea really what Fader Fort really was, to be honest. It made me care because I was like, whoa, like it made me feel like I was watching the promo for like an actual physical event that was going to happen. And it definitely made me super interested to look into it more. I forgot to look into it, unfortunately. At the time, was really excited to look into it more. So I'm definitely excited to see where these businesses go and how creative people can get with everything.
Definitely. And I'm looking at something right now. There's a guy I know, shout out to Loch Ness Monster. He is doing at home and mobile personal training. So when you're ready to go back to the gym, you won't be so ice cold when you go back in. That's crazy. And we actually just before we got on this to record, Aldi's just dropped off some groceries to my house.
Oh.
So yeah, Aldi's, Aldi's got that fat. So
their produce, they have such good, nicely priced produce. Like their produce has always been priced pretty decently compared to other grocery stores.
Well, all I know is, here's the thing. I should pay attention to prices because I do grocery shop, but I don't right now because I have the luxury of not paying rent. So in my mind, I'm a little rich. So I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I'll be swiping. I don't be looking. It's bad.
I'm a little.
It's probably my credit score dropped. It's probably my credit score dropped. But I don't know. I just know for a fact Jewel is the most expensive place to buy groceries. I hear Meijer is great.
Meijer is amazing, bro. Meijer
in a while.
Meijer is nice. That's like an upgraded Walmart, I feel.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Like that Meijer Round Lake is great, bro.
Hell yeah. Are there bagels? Don't even start on their bagels.
I never had their bagels, but I know I went in
any close proximity.
Really? That's sad.
You might just have to make that trip.
I know.
Find the closest one.
You know what I'm saying? Because you can go to Meijer, eat lunch. Like I went to Meijer and I got, was it like some chicken, some bread, and like another side for like $6. I don't know if they're having a special that day, but they literally gave me a whole meal for like $5 or $6. I was like, this is nice. If I lived out here, I'd be admired every day.
That's decent.
Yeah.
Mm. So, what has your 20s been like for you overall? Just in the grand scheme of things. I know you're not too deep into your 20s, but what has it been like for you so far?
My 20s so far have been, honestly, this has been a very transformative year for me, honestly. Especially because not only was the early stages of my 20s really starting when it started when I moved into my first, not, it didn't start when I moved into my first apartment, but moving into my first apartment was really like the big staple of my 20s. Um, and it has become very transformative for me, honestly, because I feel myself becoming more aware of who I am as a person. And obviously I'm not at a level where I'm like, I know myself, because of course all 20-year-olds think that they know themselves and don't think that they know themselves at the same time, because people are 20 years old and, young. But I definitely have felt myself, I don't know, I just feel myself growing more and more into myself and into my career every day. I feel myself becoming more honest when it comes to, my emotions and some of the behavioral patterns that I have, some of the reactions that I have. I notice myself not becoming as stressed about things that I let affect me when I was younger. I've learned to not give as many people access to, certain emotions that are unnecessary, like I used to when I was younger. Um, I just feel like this experience that I have right now is just me really, like a bunch of other people in their 20s, honestly. I just feel like it's me. I feel like I'm just kind of like floating along, getting attached to new experiences and having to kind of figure out that puzzle and see what is the best way to solve it until I get to my next puzzle. Yeah, it's definitely been a very transformative time for me so far. So can't complain, I guess.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
20. I'm 20. I've just entered the realm of my 20s.
Ah, yeah, straight up. See, now, if I was one of those know-it-all niggas, like, I'd be like, oh, you're so deep, even though I'm only 23. Just wait till you turn 22 and yada yada. Like, I don't like people like that, low key. Like, unless you like 10, unless you're like a whole decade ahead of me, I don't want to hear that shit. Like, wait till you hit 27.
Literally.
Wait till you hit 27. Like, nigga, that's only 4 years away. What are you talking about?
Literally. But like, I've always been a very mature person. I've always been a very like headstrong and like independent person. So it's common for people to usually mistake me for older than I am until they find out my actual age, and then all of a sudden I become a child. So, I think that's a very interesting thing, but I used to let that get to me when I was younger, because I've always been a very mature person. But what I've realized is usually the people that try to make me feel smaller or try to make me feel childish usually are the most childish people. And usually that's them projecting their childishness onto me. So that's just kind of how I feel about those experiences, honestly. But my 20s, although very, very early, I've seen a lot throughout my life, even before I was 20. So honestly, there are just some emotions and feelings and experiences that are not new to me at all. So yeah, I've grown pretty smoothly into my early stages.
And interesting you brought up identity. Actually, that's something I've definitely been struggling with, and it's good to, not saying it's good to hear that you're struggling. I don't want to say that, but it's just good to be able to know that other people like us, like me, like peers like Vontrell, who's not with us, can like kind of just be able to identify that, and that they're not perfect. I feel like with the age of social media and everything being in our faces and shit just happening, us wanting us to be the best we can be, and then like there's half of us 20-year-olds that want to be rich right away. Then there's a good chunk of us that are like, if you're not in your career doing what you're supposed to be doing 100%, you're wasting your fucking time.
Yeah.
It's just, and I ain't gonna lie, I used to be one of those people, but I've actually learned patience. And I think that one thing a lot of 20-year-olds can do is embrace the path that they're on. and embrace where they're at. That's one thing I had to do. I used to only worry about the end goal.
Yeah, one thing that I realized is I used to be like that too, and not too long ago either. One thing that I really realized about, and this isn't everyone, because of course you can't generalize people. There are people that, have their own unique ways of how they communicate. But one thing that I learned about a lot of people that are like that, like you and I have been before and are like, and some people still are like now, is that oftentimes when we do try to push that narrative onto other people, it's usually because we have we don't have complete control of our own pathway. We don't have complete control of ourselves. So our idea of coping with that, like trying to feel as if we have that control, is to then instill these very dictatorial, that is not how you say the word, but
I knew what you meant.
you know what I was trying to say. These very harsh, aggressive ideals as to how everyone is supposed to work. Everyone is supposed to grind. Everyone is supposed, if you're not here right now, like you're fucking up. And it's literally because we in our heads are like, we are not here right now and we're fucking up.
Yeah.
We was saying that shit. We wasn't in the position, and me even saying that to somebody now, like, we are not in the position that we want to be. I know people that I think definitely do. I personally know people that definitely would have the merit to say things like that. But even if they did, it still would be a projection because I know that they aren't even where they want to be at. Like they want to be so much higher than where they are right now. So it's one of those things where I feel like a lot of times when people are very aggressive in that way, it's usually just a projection of like the control that they want to have over themselves and like their career.
Damn, that's real. That's really real because I know for me, like I was in to the projection part, right? Mm-hmm. I was in a situation with a girl. And I didn't realize till like after the fact, but when we were kind of done, I realized that a lot of insecurities that I had and a lot of things about me that I wasn't confident in, I used to accuse that person of that. Or I used to project those things. I always ask like a million questions, even though I know the answer already, but it's like, damn, I gotta hear it again type shit. Projection is real.
Yeah.
Really fucking real.
Projection, and then I had but what I'll say is projection is real, but sometimes, and I mean, I don't know y'all's situation, of course, but a lot of times projection can be real, and it does have to do with whatever your inner issue is, like whether it's not being where you want to be or some type of insecurity or abandonment issues or whatever. Sometimes the issue also can be with other people not giving you the reassurance that you like,
Yeah.
I think that's important. Some people, I'm definitely one of those people that I need words of affirmation. Like that's my love language. I need to hear. I can see it maybe, right? And maybe seeing it is cool. And some of the times, sometimes you don't even be seeing it, right? But I need to hear, I need to be communicated with me that this is whatever it is, or that, if I have a worry or an anxiety, I want to not be anxious about it. And it might have something to do with my security, and I might project it, and that is something that needs to be handled. But it also is nice to have that reassurance from other people that you're not crazy, and even if you are talking about why it is that you're crazy and understanding that you don't have to be crazy about it,
Yes, 100%. Because another thing that I kind of, since we're on the topic, in that situation specifically, it's just like, on top of me being fairly insecure, it was also a thing where I really wasn't, some words didn't match actions. And on top of that, like, I didn't feel that person felt the same. And it was in my gut, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you get gut feelings, and sometimes you do just want to hear it and just know that everything is kosher and okay. So I completely get that, 100%. And I feel like sometimes people just, and as much as it is, sometimes what people look at as flaws are just people, like, that's just ways that people just naturally are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like everyone has not everyone, but some people have a hard time accepting people for who they are and just dealing with them on that level.
Yeah.
And when you talk about accepting someone and dealing with someone, you look at the good and the bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, I used this example earlier when I was going around telling everybody I was half Asian and shit, and this dude still decided to like be my friend. It's just like in my mind, he went and he looked at the good and he looked at the bad, and he just like, damn, well, I'm still here. And I think that we got to do a better job of doing that in all aspects, not even just like romantic relationships, obviously, just relationships in general, with your family, with your friends, with yourself. I feel like one thing I haven't been doing is accepting the good and bad within me, and that's been like the one of the things of my 20s too. It's just a lot of change. Like I never really went away to college. And I think me you had this conversation before, but I never went away to college. So for me, a lot of things I've had to learn here on the fly here in real life. So I have to deal with it. When you leave college, all the shit that you did that you fucked up on stays there at that university. I feel like I'm living it. So I feel like every day it's like the end of the world type shit.
I see what you mean. But I mean, you still, I think it's one of those things where it's just like, and I'm sure that feeling is going to stay there for a while, because I definitely have certain aspects of my life where I'm like, I wish I would have like spent this part of my youth, like, dedicated to this, no matter what my feelings were towards it. But it's one of those things where I feel like, we look back on certain things and like we wish that we could change them. But it's one of those things where it's just like, you never know if you were to change that, how many things that you have now that you're satisfied with, would they still be there? You know what I'm saying? Like thinking about how many things are a product of that thing that you didn't do. And it's kind of almost like, I guess you can use that, you can connect that to looking at the good and bad of people, looking at the good and bad of situations, and really accepting the fact that like that is a choice, with anything that you choose to do. Your example specifically, like that is a choice, I'm saying, at one point you decided to make. And I don't know what your headspace was in at that time, but I'm assuming it's a decision that you were semi okay with or satisfied with at that time. But it's one of those things where it's like, even when you do look back and you're like, fuck, like I really wish that I went through with this, or I wish I didn't say yes to this, or I wish I said no to this. And it may, sometimes it's life, some things do result in negative outcomes. That's just how things work.
Hell yeah.
But I like to think that there's always at least one good thing that comes with certain decisions, even if the main outcome of your decision may not have been the best. If you don't gain at least any tangible or emotional thing from whatever your decisions are, at least you can say that you've been given the gift of a lesson, And I think that's always something important to think about is, I don't know. I'm since I've been in quarantine, I've been in this really reflective space where like I'm kind of starting to dig into a lot of the decisions that I've made in the past that I'm not as happy with anymore. But even though I'm not happy with the outcomes of it, I've learned a lot from them. So they built me into a person, or building me into a person, I should say, that I'm kind of starting to like, I think. But again, we're in our 20s, so just gotta see where it takes you.
Say that last part one more time.
I was saying, I think I was saying, again, we're in our 20s, so you just gotta see where it takes you.
100%. And I was talking to my friend about this yesterday. A lot of times we get focused on the destination, and instead of focusing on the journey. But in all reality, right, when you reach a destination, you stop. The instant in life you stop getting better. So I think that our mindset needs to change from, Lord, let me get to this destination, let me get to this goal, which is good to have goals, don't get me wrong. But I do feel like we have to start being like, well, damn, let me make sure I embrace and take in this journey that I'm actually on, because this journey that I'm doing is fucking raw. Like what I'm doing right now is the shit, and you enjoy the moment, because once you reach that destination, you reach that top, then it's like, okay, now what?
Right.
Now I'm bored. Now I'm gonna go get into shit that I really shouldn't even be into. Now I'm doing stuff I've never really done before. It's a fine line. Pierce, question for you.
What's up?
If you never went away to college, are you the same person that you are now?
Not at all, man. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. There's a lot of things I experienced in college that I just wouldn't have experienced at home, just going to community college, so I'm super thankful for going away. I would have liked to. I go looking back on it. I wish I stayed, but I mean, it was like mad expensive. It was like crazy expensive. So I was like, fuck all that shit. But the experience was something that I'm thankful for. I mean, I think it changed me to who I am today in a positive direction. It's made me a lot more open to things. It's made me a lot more adventurous. It's exposed me to things I would have never been exposed to before. That. Now that I have experience in those situations, I know how to act, or I know how to do this, and that. So, I mean, it was a great experience, there's obviously hard times as well, but not everything's always going to be like perfect. You feel me? But like it's easy to kind of dwell on those imperfect things when you're in a certain situation. But I always just try to look at the positives about it, and not really dwell, because those bad situations aren't going to affect me in the long run. It's the positives that are, you know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. So I'm 100% happy I went away for the time that I did. It definitely did change me for the better. I feel, at least. I'm sure some may hopefully people don't disagree, but I mean, you never know. But yeah, man, I'm grateful for it. I really am grateful for the experience.
Now, one thing I'm asking both of you guys, and if you guys are okay to share, cool. If not, I understand. But what's the next thing you guys are going to work on individually for yourselves? I know for me personally, it's going to be make sure I get better controlling my emotions and discipline. Okay, that's two things. Shit. I'm going to go with my emotions, just because there have been times where I have definitely let my emotions get the best of me. I may have said some things that I definitely shouldn't have said, or I'll sit there and I'll overthink a whole situation. And I realize, like, why I'm such an overthinker, but I think it comes from my emotions, just getting kind of like a little anxiety. Sometimes I get anxiety just from not knowing. I'm someone who likes to ask a lot of questions, and like to know damn near everything. I think accepting the fact that I'm not going to know everything, and accepting the fact about things I can't change, can really help me emotionally, help me make a lot of better decisions. So I'm not just running off into things. I used to really just jump to a lot of conclusions and let my emotions take the best of me in situations where it's just like, damn, I don't really have to do that, you know?
Definitely, I agree. Yeah. I think that one thing that I'm working on for myself right now, definitely a lot of things, but right now I'm currently working on self fulfillment. Um,
Same.
yeah, like I just realized, again, like I was saying earlier, I've always been a person that likes to entertain. I'm always a person that likes to make people happy. I'm the person that I can be a terrible communicator, but I'm the type of person where it's just like, if you're really somebody that I care about, I will literally sacrifice time. I will like drop something. Not if it's career wise, I won't drop it, but anything else, like I will drop things to sacrifice being there for people that I love. And I will also project and do a lot of things that I shouldn't do for that attention or for that love to make me feel fulfilled. I'll overshare to people that don't really need me to do that.
Yeah,
Just
100%.
because I'm like, I feel like I've definitely found myself in a place maybe about 4 or 5 months ago, I'll say, I found myself in a place of like realizing how fulfilled yet unfulfilled I am with myself. Like I'm fulfilled with myself from the extent of I know that I produce work that people respect. I know that I am a person that people respect and like. I know that I'm a person that I like generally, So that was cool. But there's just a lot of things emotionally and behaviorally that I needed to figure out. And I felt like I had no one to really talk to because I don't know, it's really hard for me to go to people for advice because I'm one of those people where it's just like, if I don't teach myself things in general, school wise, emotionally wise, anything, if I don't teach myself, if I can't teach myself whatever it is, then it's really hard for me to take in the information. So advice and things like that, it was always very hard for me to really get advice on, figuring out what is going on with me. But I don't know, as of recently, especially during this quarantine, I've just realized that a lot of the comfort and love and attention that I needed and wanted really was here, like inside of me, and not even being like some head ass, like be myself and I, but like literally, like there's so much comfort and safety that you can find in yourself. And it's one of those things where it's like, if you don't feel it in yourself, I realized that it's not one of those things where you have to tear yourself apart to find it in someone else to, have them teach you how to find it in yourself. It's really one of those things where like you have to buckle down and have the discipline to just like sit down and communicate with yourself, talk to yourself and be like, okay, what the fuck is the problem? And like what do we have to do to fix it? So that's definitely been my biggest thing that I'm working on right now. It's been going pretty well, so.
That's great to hear. Mr. Anderson, do you have anything?
Yeah, man. I actually just wrote this down in my journal last night when I was writing in it, but just more so. Yeah.
Journal gang.
I'm working on that. I've been trying to write a little bit more, but just really just like living in the moment. I know we talked about this earlier, but just kind of getting caught up with like future goals and obviously everyone has like an ultimate goal they want to achieve, and that's great. You should always have, dream big, think big, dream big. But I think for me, a lot of the time I would have that ultimate goal, and because I felt I wasn't progressing fast enough and not where I should be, it would definitely bring me down a lot, and I would lose sight of what I have accomplished and what I have done and what I have improved on. Even the smallest improvements, I would lose sight of that and just think that, oh, well, none of that matters if I'm not here. If I'm not already on my way there, then it doesn't really matter. But there's so many smaller steps and smaller journeys that I was just not even taking the time to appreciate, it kind of lost. I feel like I kind of lost all that, So for me, I just want to work on just living in the moment and just appreciating what I'm doing now, because personally, I feel like that would help me just kind of do a lot more things and not be not so much scared, but just kind of skeptical and stuff. And I would be willing just to kind of go out of my comfort zone a lot more if I was just like, you know what, like I'm just going to enjoy this right now. Because right now, the present is the only thing that's guaranteed. You know what I'm saying? The future is never guaranteed. So even if I have a plan or like, oh, I'm going to do this, and this, and I'm sure I mean, Devonn, you have experience with this. You had a whole plan with the becoming, paramedics and this and that. Like clearly that didn't work out, and I'm sure for a while, like, and I know we had these conversations all the time where it was really weighing you down because you weren't where you felt you should have been. You know what I'm saying? But instead, for me, like, I just want to just work on what I'm doing at this moment right now and appreciate the progress that I'm making and remember that even the smallest step is still a big step. It's still a step towards my goal. You know what I'm saying? And so that's my big thing personally, is just remembering that even though I want to be somewhere, it's never going to be, success is never a quick journey. I mean, I guess it is for some people. Those are like the very, very, very select few, but for the majority, like it's a journey. And I think a lot of people kind of get discouraged because they feel like they're not moving fast enough. But what is fast enough? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure everyone would like to be in the pinnacle of success tomorrow. But if that's the case, then there's so much that you wouldn't learn from all of these journeys and failures that you wouldn't really know what to do when you get to that level. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like for me, I just want to take the time to really sit back and appreciate and learn from what I'm doing at the moment in that moment, instead of just kind of not really paying attention to that and just looking to, okay, like, what do I need to accomplish to do this, 5 years down the line, instead of working line, like, what do I need to do to accomplish this in the week? You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel like it does a little bit.
It makes sense. You got to have baby steps and baby goals before you can really jump into the big things, but it's building discipline and building confidence, right?
Exactly.
I feel that completely, because discipline is something that I personally lack for sure. But like for me, hello?
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry. For me, I don't know if I told you this story, King, because I know we spoke previously, but when I was coming out of high school, right, I had the perfect plan for my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
My plan was, okay, I'm gonna become a firefighter paramedic. I was gonna marry my current girlfriend at the time. We weren't even together for like a year yet. And then I was gonna buy a house in this place called Waukegan. It's like 20 minutes from every state. I had the subdivision down packed. I was gonna retire at 50. I was gonna have 2 kids. I knew what car I was gonna drive, all that good shit. But then life came. It was like, sight, nigga. It took all that shit away. And now here I am. I'm happy though. I'm learning to see my previous mindset, kind of like what Pierce is saying. Like I resonate with that because I wasn't embracing, and this is recently something I started doing this month to keep it a buck with you. I've just now started to really embrace my journey for where it's at and appreciate the blessings that I have in front of me. Like even today, I got blessed with a huge opportunity today that could lead to a bigger opportunity. Like, then it's something I've been praying on and working on and talking about, trying to manifest. But it's crazy how the wanting of goals. See, I wanted 2 different kinds of goals at 2 different phases, but yet one was kind of really unhealthy, almost obsession to where it's like I gotta get this life, I gotta do this, and I'm gonna do it because fuck what they say, and this is gonna happen, yada yada yada. But yeah, here I am trying to manifest something, and I'm still saying it's gonna happen, but it just feels different than the time before. I don't know what's so different about it. I don't know if it's because I have more knowledge for now at 23 than what I did at 17. I don't know if it's because I failed a lot and now I kind of understand what happens so I don't fail anymore. I don't know. I don't know if it's a different career path, but I'm still trying to figure that out. But do you guys like kind of get what I'm getting at?
No, definitely.
No, yeah, I do.
Yeah,
okay, that was a lot.
I definitely think that it's one of those things where it's just like, you ever heard that saying, we plan, God laughs.
Something along those lines I've heard like that, yeah.
It's just one of those things where it's just like, of course, obviously, regardless of however your mindset is of how the universe works, planning is an essential part of living, just because we as people need to plan to make sure that we can survive in today's society. But, like, as plans change, things changed, things constantly change, and things constantly move. I mean, shit, I plan my schedule for my day, and one small thing completely throws that entire schedule off track, But it's one of those things where it's just like, it threw my schedule off track and it makes me upset. It makes me frustrated, but I just have to figure out how do I adjust to get myself back on track, And I feel like that's one good thing that I can say about a lot of us, is that, for example, you had one idea of where you wanted to go career wise, but you literally have bounced right back and you're figuring out right now, what works best for you. For example, this podcast is really fucking dope. Like this is a really cool podcast. Is a really cool idea to have. It's really cool to just have people in their 20s in general on this platform to, talk about real life shit that people who are 20 years old, have to deal with, and people can relate to. And the fact that, you had this plan, it derailed, you got back up and you are figuring out, what pathway your train is going on, you have figured out a way to, while you're on that path of figuring it out, you have found a way to provide something for other people. You know what I'm saying? So that effectiveness, that power is still there. And it's not, it hasn't been a defeat, and even God forbid, if this podcast stopped in 2 months, right? You would be able to look at this, you would be able to look back at this, in the future and really be like, damn, this may have not lasted, but I am happy and satisfied with the idea that during that time we were able to give 20-year-olds a platform to speak. And we were able to have a platform where people were listening, 20-year-olds were listening and being able to receive information and hear other 20-year-olds talk about things that, they might have issues with that they never really had anyone else to communicate about it with. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely one of those things of like finding the silver lining with things. Finding the silver lining of things is really what has helped me personally always stay on track with where it is that I want to go. Because trust me, I understand. I've been derailed too many times in life. So, it's really just about deciding, are you going to let defeat you, or are you going to defeat it? It's one of those things where it's like, choose wise or choose your demise, to be honest, So I think as long as we can look at the glimmer of good that comes out of our decisions, whether it is, again, like I said earlier, a lesson, and use that to put ourselves back on the train tracks. I think that's the most important part, and I think that's the most encouraging part. I think that's the bravest part that any and everyone could do is, I think if you are able to put yourself back on the train tracks after any inconvenience you've had in life, you are honestly like a superhero in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? Because not many people, unfortunately, can do that. So.
Whew, that was heavy. First of all, like that was like 4 plates on each side. I can't lift this shit. But no, that wow. So that was what you said is really dope, and that's really powerful. And I really feel like people should really understand that message. And I feel like this is my thing with having a platform. Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you for saying that. That's like low key the nicest thing anybody has ever said about our podcast.
No,
that
was the goal. That's the goal of the podcast too. So I'm glad that it's actually coming across well.
Yes, it definitely.
Man, I ain't gonna say I'm crying, but my eyes are like leaking right now. So that's all good. You feel me? But like that was like one of the dopest things I've ever heard. Huh?
So you got some onions around?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? My eyes just broken. I need some new ones. You know what I'm saying? So I think the biggest thing about having a platform is to make sure that you do what's right with it. Me and you, Kim, were talking. We talk, and I don't even want to say his name to give him any clout because I think he's whack. We talked about somebody who uses their platform irresponsibly. I don't know if you remember who we were talking about, but he's a prime example of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when you have a platform, no matter how big, no matter how small, people listen to you. And now that our show, since you being transparent about it, like I don't like to get into numbers like that, but or at least share it because I gotta pay attention to the numbers. But like our numbers have been growing lately. YouTube subscriptions are up. Everything's going up lately. So, and for me, it almost feels like more of a motivation to really get on top of my shit and to make sure that I'm putting out the right information, that we're all talking about the right thing, that I'm using my platform responsibly. And that's like what the purpose of this is for. And I feel like, especially here in our generation, millennials is 20s, we don't really be trying to share with people like that. Like you brought up something earlier about oversharing. I was definitely an overshare. And sometimes I still are, I ain't gonna lie. I'd be like, Devonn, shut your ass up.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, I feel like our generation sometimes doesn't really share enough. At least, like, there's social media and everything, but I don't count social media as real life. I mean, real life is in real life, face to face. Because you see some, because half the shit we see on Twitter, we don't believe. For one, because half that shit is not real. But I really feel like just being able to interact with people the way we are now, having this really long conversation, and for us to just understand each other on a different level. I feel like if people were to sit down with each other more, understand each other, don't judge, but learn and accept other people's experiences, values, and the way they look at life, like, I think the world would be really often like a really better place. I don't think that it's on our generation to save the world, but I definitely do think our generation is equipped to make this place a better, like to make the earth a better place more than any other generation has been equipped before. We have all the goofy shit that they did back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you look at something like, let me think, for example, like, I don't want to say something drastic as slavery, but like, okay, here's a good example. The way that the woman was treated in the household way back in the day. You cook, you clean, you don't work, you raise the kids, you be quiet. You know, all that crazy shit.
Mm-hmm.
We obviously have learned from that and made that better. And now, because we've learned from that crazy shit, we also have technology and we're a lot more open minded, and we're a lot faster at doing things. So I feel like our generation is the most equipped to make the biggest change that this world has ever seen. I'm just excited to see it. I don't know what's gonna happen, but whatever change is gonna come. I'm really excited to see it. I feel like our generation is really gonna shift this world in a really big way that no one's ever done it before.
Yeah, I think we could definitely do it, man. I guess it just depends on if people's hearts are in the right positions. I feel like honestly, like all generations probably felt that way. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like we're the first generation. It's like, oh, we're the best. You know, I'm sure all generations kind of wanted to be better than the last. You know, I think it really comes down to. I think it comes down to like greed at the end of the day, because a lot of things can get done if people didn't want so much for themselves. You feel, if that makes sense, you know? And like, I think our generation is right now, I think we're a lot more accepting. I think we're a lot more giving, you know, and we're a lot more understanding. And I just kind of hope that continues, you know, and it doesn't change as we get older and as, you know, money becomes more of an issue and stuff like that, because I think money for sure changes a lot of people and changes a lot of plans that people may have, you know. So I hope that doesn't really happen. But I think if I think we are able to make big changes in the world, just on a just taking care of the earth level to taking care of ourselves level, just to all around. I mean, we have the equipment, we have the knowledge, we have all that. It's just, are we going to use it the right way? I think that's the biggest obstacle that we're gonna have to face.
Definitely, that's definitely gonna be I think, yeah, I agree. Money is definitely gonna be something that's very tricky, especially because I mean, think about before this pandemic happened. You know, the idea of like collaboration and we're artists working together has always been a very tricky thing because, of course, everybody wants to get paid, but everybody also doesn't have money when you're thinking about our generation. So there's always a lot of tension when it comes to the realm of like working with other artists just to be working with other artists, depending on the scenario, of course. So now that we're about to enter this age where, money is getting even slimmer, jobs are closing, and artists are definitely going to be trying to, charge for their services, which I think is amazing. I definitely think that's going to put a giant wrench, although, into collaborative work between artists um, for fun projects, getting to know artists better within that realm of things. I definitely think that's going to put, and just the virus in general, I feel like is definitely going to put an unfortunate space between our generation. I hope that it doesn't, but I can definitely see that becoming a problem since we're all isolated and stuff like that.
Yeah, I would hate to know, like, so are you kind of referring to some artists maybe raising their fees up to compensate for the money that they haven't made, that they're not making right now?
I'm more so just thinking about artists in general, but I definitely know that is a thing because I know even with certain jobs that I do, I've raised prices on certain services, um, just so that I can keep up with, paying for certain bills and keeping up with supply and demand. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I honestly just think it's really just artists in general, but definitely artists that are raising their prices for the sake of everything that's going economically. It's definitely going to be harder. It's definitely going to be harder for artists that, like I, for example, like most of the stuff that I do, unless it's like simple photography work, usually it requires me of my full team of people to, help me execute whatever the vision is. So that usually can be quite costly,
Hell yeah, you gotta pay everybody.
It be a difficult thing to figure out how to leverage once things kind of calm down.
Yeah, I'm also learning that too because we have a guy who puts up the videos. I used to do the videos, but schedule wise, it got really hectic. Mm-hmm. But I actually pay somebody to do our videos, and I pay someone to do photos. So I completely understand paying your team. Mm-hmm. And that's when and that's why I say, like, I was like, oh, if you're not working in your field, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing the whole time. My 9 to 5 funds that shit because me, Pierce, nor Vontrell have got a penny off podcasting or radio so far. Not a penny.
Zero.
Zilch. What's money? I don't even know what money is anymore.
Right. Real.
But like we've gotten no bread from that. We do it because we love it. So if I were to quit my job on that shit, then I don't have YouTube. Then I can expand my platform. So I also think it's on people. This is going to cause people to think a lot more critically, become a lot more creative, and be a lot more realistic. I had to come back down to earth and be like, all right, dog, like, get over yourself, shut up. You know you're going to work tomorrow anyway. Like, because I got shit I got to pay for. I got shit I got to do. You know what I'm saying? But one question I have for you is, you know, we often hear the term, oh, the price is going up when somebody does some shit. Where for you, what was significant? Like what would make you say in your mind, like, yeah, I got to raise my fees?
That's funny because that's actually something that I'm like I've been kind of racking my brain about now, actually. But I think one thing that would be really right now, it's more so me racking my brain because it's more so just me like establishing the business more sturdier. But to more so what I believe that you're talking about is like once, you know, your career kind of takes that height where people believe that you need to, you know, raise your prices. I feel like that would really come. I don't know. I feel like it would really, I don't know. I feel like it would really depend for me because I'm one of those people where I know that I'm always going to have a bias towards Chicago artists, especially when I expand. I'm always, because my plan and my dream is to develop Chicago's media circuit to be as sturdy, concise, and cohesive as possible. So I know that I probably most likely would, depending on the person, of course, I would offer pretty lower rates. Once I really got up there, I would really offer, you know, doable rates for underground artists and people that just want access to, you know, quality production, but, you know, may not have the funds or the resources to really do that. But I definitely know that once I get, you know, higher scale clients, people that I know can, you know, are willing to pay for better quality, that definitely is when prices will go up. I feel like, and it's not even for me, for what I do, it's really not even about the people. Like, it's not about who it is that is a client. For me, where my realm of business comes from, it's really about the scale of whatever it is that I'm making. So even if it was this local artist from like Florida or some shit, you know, I might be like, you know, this guy's an underground artist, I'll, you know, kind of lower down the rates a little bit. But if this dude is like, I want 50 drone shots and I want strippers coming out 8 feet cakes and I want perfect lighting at every angle, you know, the price is going to go up.
Hell yeah.
You know, so I definitely think that the idea of like my prices are going up will definitely change with the scale of the work that I'm doing. So as I grow into my career and I do a lot more like corporate and or established projects, higher scale projects, like I said earlier, that would definitely be more so the thing that determines how, you know, prices go up.
Yeah, I understand that completely. In terms of like money for us, and I guess it's out that we've had it many a times, but I haven't monetized this yet because I don't want to. For me, and making money off my art, like I haven't monetized this yet because I would hate for us to get like, say we get a deal with somebody. Sorry, when we get a deal with somebody,
right?
I would hate for them to lock us in at the amount of listeners and like numbers we do now. And then when we get bigger, because we will get bigger, I don't want them to like lock us in it like, oh, but this is where you're at when you had this many listens per episode and this many viewers and this, so I gotta keep it at this rate. Like, nah. Then you gotta go through contract and then you end up with shit like with Megan Thee Stallion and 1501, where you want more money, but they're not gonna give it to you. And I don't want to deal with that. So I'd rather just wait, build us while we're like before we're on and popping. And then get out there. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely agree.
Now, I don't know if everyone else felt like this, but I felt like this for a while. I felt like maybe last year and like 2 years ago, like the music video trend had kind of like died a little bit because when we were kids, because we're all around the same age here, music videos were the shit. Like if a song didn't have a music video, nobody's really fucking with it. Right. But I feel like music videos are starting to now make a comeback and to be kind of like that it thing. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. It definitely is. And it's an exciting time because I know when like music videos died down, I definitely miss the music video culture. But now music videos now they're entering this very interesting world. We're in this world right now where because they're coming back, you have a lot of really cool, unique, innovative ideas, a lot of really innovative concepts, a lot of out of this world visuals. And then you have a lot of music videos that are just the same thing. And it's nothing new. It's really redundant. And it's because of the rise of music videos that people feel the need that they have to make a visual, right? It's I need a visual to go with this song, but I'm not going to put any thought or creativity or ideas into it. I'm just going to shoot something. I'm going to go outside and shoot something, or I'm going to shoot something that looks like it has a lot of thought, but it is literally just the exact same thing as something else that's on Vivo Music, like, it's an interesting time to be in because there's just so much. I mean, I guess that's really just with anything that is, really popular and common. You're going to get that with anything. So it's really nothing to be upset about, I guess, but it's just definitely interesting to see. But there's definitely so many dope videos out. There's so many cool concepts. There's so many awesome music video directors on the scene right now. And man, can't wait for that to be one day.
Oh, it will, because you know who's fire? Cole Bennett. He is amazing. Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. He's definitely cool. He's definitely worked with some really cool artists too. He's rose to fame pretty fast too. And the fact that, I guess it's not a Chicago-based company anymore, but, rooted in Chicago. I think it's very cool to see, the levels of success in which, he's accomplished since then. So definitely really cool.
Definitely. Now I'm officially out. I'm officially, that is officially all the questions I have for you. I promise.
Okay, cool.
Piers, do you have anything else?
Oh
shit! Here go another hour.
No, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, what 2 hours? Some minutes.
I'm down. I'm down for whatever. I could make a part 1 and part 2 if you really wanted to. But
I mean, we're gonna have to at this point.
But I'm not gonna lie. I was gonna put out all 2 hours at once.
Oh, I mean, okay. Well, but
that's good.
No, I don't really have any more questions. I mean, I feel like we definitely covered a broad range of subjects. I think it was a great conversation. To be honest with you, it didn't even seem like an interview type. It was just a conversation.
Yeah,
it didn't.
It was really good.
And this is what I was going for. Like this, I feel like this is one of my favorite. This is already one of my favorite episodes. Thank you so much for coming on, Ken. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Of course, yeah, I love this. This is honestly great. Any opportunity where I can talk with other artists just about life, politics, entertainment, all that stuff is awesome to me. So yeah, I definitely appreciate you guys for, all the awesome questions that you asked. And, I've never been a guest on anybody's show or anything before. So it's my first time ever really being with you. So I hope I did a great job. Well.
Yeah, no, you did a really good job of being transparent, being open. You know what I'm saying? Like it was, but that's what I'm saying. I feel like without being transparent a little bit, we can't make the world can't be a better place, but it also makes us better.
Definitely.
Because
help us connect.
Like, all right, definitely. And like, all right, I'm about to get a little deep again, but whatever. So I was in therapy, right? And one thing I noticed about therapy is that sometimes you go into therapy expecting the counselor or whomever you're seeing to make your solutions better. But as you go, if your therapy is successful and you're being 100% truthful to yourself and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, because it's a two-part thing, then you're going to realize you're actually end up answering a lot of your own questions. Because y'all ever sit there and think about something you said out loud and you're like, oh shit, what? That's what therapy is. But you're saying it to someone who's a really good listener and it's going to help facilitate a healthier thought process. Like, that's the kind of stuff I wish that the world would have just consistently on a very consistent basis. Like, I think that's one of the dopest things that could happen. And I think it needs to happen.
I agree. I definitely agree.
Hell yeah.
So that is pretty much all I got. KinMarie, why don't you give them your social medias and everything?
Of course. My Instagram is KinMarie with 2 N's, so KINN Marie. And then my Twitter, I believe, is KinMarie, how it's actually spelled, with just 1 N, KIN Marie _. I believe that's all the social media I have. So yeah, check me out. Got lots of cool stuff on there.
Pierce?
You can find me on I'm really just on like Instagram, but it's just pbugs pb00gs. I'm on there. Follow me on Apple Music. I got playlists for days. I got hits for days.
Oh snap!
Yeah, man, you should follow me too because I really do got fucking playlists.
Let me go ahead.
Would she be your first follower?
Off of this? Well, yeah, I guess so. I mean, I've had followers, don't get me wrong, but like from this, no.
Yeah, because it just feels like nobody really be fucking with off the podcast. Like, who else is putting out playlists for them to follow? Like, that shit is different.
Yeah, but I'm not really worried. It's gonna happen. But yeah, man, just pbugs. Or if not, if that doesn't work, just type in my name, Pierce Anderson. I will pop up.
100%.
What about you, Devonn?
Well, first thing I'm gonna do, you know what I'm saying? Vontrell cannot be with us, but check him out on Snap at Vontrell. Oh, right. Vontrellduh, because it's Vontrellduh, right? Oh, excuse me. Oh, no. That's not what happened. Vontrell on Instagram as well. Vontrellduh on Instagram. You guys can find me, Devonn Overstreet, on Twitter, or DStreet815 on Twitter, Devonn Allen on Instagram. ISD and School Detention on Instagram as well. But please, most importantly, guys, please check out our YouTube channel.
Yes, and
ISD in School Detention. We just hit 100 subscribers. I can't wait to hit 1,000. I printed that out. I'm gonna have my mom. yes, thank you. I'm gonna have my mom frame that shit too. And I'm gonna take that as a picture, that tweet. So when I look back when I hit 1,000, I'm like, all right, well now it's time to hit 100,000. So.
Yeah, for real.
For real. So like, this has been a really dope episode, and of course, guys, we are on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 different podcast platforms. 9 different ones.
Yeah, so we're available, guys.
We are available. So yeah, I can't find your podcast. Shut your whining ass up. So you don't want to listen. No, I'm playing. But yeah, and also I guess I can make this announcement. I got my first DJ gig.
Nice.
Yeah, I will be DJing for our Instagram live show. We will be practicing social distancing, but I will be DJing for an Instagram live show from my boy, Rated R Playboy, aka Rob Hicks, for the 510 South label. We're gonna be up in Racine doing that. It's gonna be Friday around 8 p.m. So everybody, please tune in. The Instagram page is 510 South. I'm gonna send it to y'all.
Yeah,
y'all. I'm gonna send it to y'all. Y'all good. But the 510 South guys, I will be doing my first gig, and that's crazy how fast it happened. Like, that shit is nuts.
And what day is this?
Friday.
Okay.
Yep. I'll make sure to clear my schedule.
Right, I'm like, let me I'll be
right.
Let me put it in my calendar.
Man, I feel you. No, I appreciate that. Thank you guys so much. So, alrighty, ISD faithful. I'm gonna make this a 2-part. I'm not gonna lie, because I would listen to a 2.5 hour podcast, but with the other people, I don't know. So I'm gonna make this a 2-part. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate you guys, and you guys have a great week. Please be safe out there and practice social distancing.
Peace.
Oh, peace.